Should women work after they get married, or should they quit their profession entirely and focus 100% on being a wife and eventually a mother? And is the resurgence of the trad wife image useful for women to aspire to? These are the questions that we're going to answer today. And then I'm going to give you 4 tips for how all of you wives and mothers out there can better manage your time and organize your busy schedule in order to better prioritize your family, whether or not you are juggling work and motherhood, or maybe you're just juggling home and motherhood and the wife life. This topic is particularly important today. It comes at a time where the trend of the trad wife is exploding on social media, as I'm sure you've seen. And there are more content creators and influencers than ever who are promoting this stay-at-home mom lifestyle. And they constantly talk about how women are made for the home. They're not made for the workforce because moms are supposed to stay home and raise children and care for the family. And you see all these beautiful, aesthetically pleasing photos and videos of these wives and mothers who've given up their corporate job and they're the stay-at-home moms now and they homeschool. And so this is what we're seeing a lot of today. And I think it's important to talk about because, as you know, well, hopefully you know by now, maybe you're new to my channel, I'm a big fan of motherhood and family. I am. Speaking of motherhood, my baby is going to pop out any day now. I got only a few weeks left of this pregnancy. You know, I'm a big fan of motherhood, and I want more moms to devote their time to their families and their kids. But in order to answer the question of whether women should work or not after getting married, we first have to point out this. The trad wife trend is not actually related to true tradition. Okay, and I've brought this up many times on my show before. You can go back and watch previous episodes. I've done an entire episode on how the trad wife trend is not actually traditional. And I'm not saying this in a way to discourage women from staying home with their children. I'm just telling you that we need the full context of what tradition is if we're going to be successful at bringing tradition back. Up until pretty recently in history, it was unheard of for wives and mothers to not contribute at all to the family income. The family was always seen as an economic unit that supported the husband's trade, enterprise, business, his land. And the wife and even the children after a certain age were always working to bring in money through farming, creating goods to sell, creating goods to sell for profit, assisting with the husband's enterprise, etc. So it's actually a very new thing that women are expected to not contribute at all to the family economy. In fact, today you see a lot of the rhetoric online that a woman who brings in any income, it's like in the trad circle, it's considered a huge fail. The mom's not supposed to bring in any money, it's supposed to be all the dad. Again, this is a very, very new modern concept. But before I explain to you more of the history of why this is new and modern, how would you like to get super fit for summer? Because I just released a brand new dumbbell workout program that is a 10-week program with 3 strength workouts a week. And I also give you some cardio sessions to do in between your strength sessions and tutorial videos and everything you need to finally get fit for the summer. I'm really excited about this one because these are the types of workouts I do with my clients who are on their weight loss programs. These are the types of workouts that I've been doing even through my pregnancy. I did one of the workouts yesterday, even though my belly's about to pop. So if you're new to working out or if you just need a fresh program to get you kick-started for the summer, now's the time. Go to the show notes, click the link in my description to get your hands on this brand new dumbbell program. It is on sale now because I just released it. So I'm really excited to see how you guys like it. I released it first in my women's health group and a lot of positive feedback so far. So I'm sure you're going to like it too. You can do it at home if you have dumbbells, or you can do it over at the gym, just depending on wherever you work out. And let me know if you guys have any questions about it. I can't wait to hear your feedback. Okay, so of course, industrialization forever changed the family economic unit. It forced both men and women into factories to work, and this forever changed society and even the way that the family unit functioned. But it was only recently, in the post-war 1950s, that women were expected to not bring in any income. Okay, so remember, prior to this period, especially prior to industrialization, a wife and a mother, if she was not contributing at all to the family income, she was considered useless. Remember, what do you guys think a dowry was for? Remember, a dowry was, they paid to marry the girl because she was going to bring in She was going to bring in money, bring in income. She was going to help boost the family's economic unit. That's the whole point of a dowry. But in the 1950s, this post-war era, this was a time where women were simply expected to stay home and take care of the kids. And this is what the tradwife trend is built off of. And it's a small sliver in history that was actually an anomaly. In fact, it used to be considered a luxury that was only reserved for aristocrats, for women to just stay home with their kids and not have to contribute at all by working the land or selling goods for profits or anything like that. But in the 1950s, it was now a possibility for many families where the wives could stay home. Now, hear me when I say there is nothing inherently wrong with this sort of 1950s image, lifestyle. What I'm saying is that it's not actually rooted in true tradition, because traditionally, the nuclear family was not separated from the larger family or a high trust village where women were living a very, very different lifestyle. They were living in these high trust societies and communities where they were constantly in community with each other, constantly helping each other. And this is all very relevant today when we talk about whether women should work or not after marriage, okay? Because I think that we're actually asking the wrong question. The question is not whether women traditionally used to work in the past, because they did. The real question is, and we're not asking ourselves this, what is the primary role of the wife and the mother in the family? Whether it's yesterday, today, or tomorrow. What's the timeless, classic definition of what a mother and a wife brings to the table traditionally? And once we ask this question, you'll see that the question of, well, should women quit their job after they get married? It becomes a very legalistic, almost cheap question that doesn't even need to be asked once we get into the primary role of the wife and the mother. Father Josiah Trenum, big fan of him, I especially love his YouTube these days. He said in a recent YouTube episode called Motherhood is Not a Pathology, that's the name of the video, he said, "We esteem motherhood as the highest of all human endeavors." He spoke about motherhood being glorious, central to life. And if your goal is to acquire love, we must hold motherhood at the highest esteem. It should be the most valuable thing in our society, and it should be the core of everything else that we do. And I want to read you a quote from Saint Nectarios. "The child, nurtured in his mother's bosom and warmed in his mother's embrace, begins to love before he learns the concept of love. And he begins to subordinate his will to the moral law before he learns the concept of the moral law. And it is the mother alone who is most suited to arousing in the child's heart his first conception of God." That's a really powerful quote. We have the most profound job as mothers. So to ask whether women and mothers should work after they get married, well, that legalistic, cheap question pales in comparison to the deeper, more profound notion that mothers have the biggest impact on the hearts and souls of children. We should instead be asking ourselves, how can we make the best impact on our kids and our families as we possibly can? And how can we fully step into the sacred role of motherhood? These are much more important questions. Now, I want to show you a really quick clip from Eva Mendes. It feels random, but I stumbled across it online and I thought it was very relevant to today's topic. So this is an actress, as you, I'm sure, know. She married Ryan Gosling. They have 2 daughters together, and she's been out of the acting scene for quite some time now. And in this clip, she explains why. So let's take a look.
It was like a no-brainer. I'm so lucky. And I was like, if I can have this time with my children, and I still worked, I just didn't act, because acting takes you on locations, it takes you away. It was almost just like a non-verbal agreement that it was like, okay, he's gonna work and I'm gonna work. I'm just gonna work here. It was.
I wouldn't say this clip necessarily went viral, but it is a really nice summary of what we're talking about. What I noticed in this clip is Eva made it perfectly clear that her priorities are her children and her family come first, and everything else, including work, is secondary. And that's why she quit acting and still pursued to work from home, because remember how we were talking about traditionally what the role of the wife and the mother was? They always worked, but they always worked in the context of the home. Always. That is traditionally the role of the wife and mother, because up until very recently, women were, they didn't need to go out of the house to work, and they weren't expected to go out of the house to work, but there was a lot of work that needed to be done at home. So they always worked in the context of their home, and they always put their children and their family first. And this is what Eva is talking about here. She says she quit acting because acting takes you away from home. It takes you on location. It takes you away. So she decided to put her kids first, and she still worked on the side. She ended up co-founding this like clean sponge company. I think it's called like Skura or something like that. But she made it a priority to stay home and be close to her kids and work on the side if she needed to or if she wanted to. And I want all the women out there to know, especially if you're not a mom yet or you're just married, whatever it is, you only get one shot with your kids. You only get one chance to shape their hearts, their souls, and their spirit. This is why so many moms do quit their full-time job and make sacrifices both professionally and financially to be there for their kids from day one. Because you don't get a second chance. After they reach a certain age, it's done. I quit my dream job working for Candace. I always thought I would be a career mom. I laugh at it now. I honestly cannot believe that I thought I would be a working mom. But I thought that I would be the career mom that had my kids stay home with a nanny or whatever. And then I went out for the day, worked, and I enjoyed the evenings and weekends with my kids. But as soon as I held my daughter for the first time, my whole world changed. And I think this is a sentiment that many moms, maybe many of you listening can relate to. It is something that it fundamentally changes who you are to your core when you hold your baby for the first time. Many of us, it happens when we're pregnant, but there's something even more that switches on when you hold your baby for the first time and you realize that you could never surrender your child to be raised by somebody else, let alone raised by strangers, while you go work in a cold office or devote 8 to 10 hours of your day to some boss who doesn't really care about you at the end of the day. Now, as I've said in previous episodes, we live in a very precarious time economically. There are many families out there who unfortunately cannot survive on one income the way that they used to just 5 to 10 years ago because of insanely high inflation rates, grocery costs, housing costs, just a trash economy in general. So I hear from a lot of these moms. I'm not talking about moms who just choose to work because they like their career and they like to have nice things. I'm talking about moms who have really cut all the corners that they could possibly have with their family, and they still need to bring in some kind of work, and they have to work and send their kids, unfortunately, to daycare. I think that instead of being rude and judgmental to these moms who have no other option than to work while raising their kids, I think we should be asking ourselves how we can lend a helping hand. Just like our ancestors had a lot of help, right? So along with the traditional full family, the context of the full family, women were never expected to do motherhood alone. They always had each other, whether it was family members, sisters, a mom, grandmother, aunts, or just friends in your high trust village. Women always supported each other. And that's something today that women are severely lacking. And so I think instead of judging moms, I've done a whole episode previously on how I see that honestly, a lot of stay-at-home mom influencers or even just stay-at-home moms who are online, they get really judgmental and they get really kind of like, they get rude. They get a bit nasty with moms who talk about how they wish they didn't have to work, but they did. I think that's the wrong thing to do. I'm sure some of you out there know moms who have to work, not choose to work, but have to work because their family can't survive on one income anymore. We should be asking, how can we support them? How can we help them with their kids? Because this is how we should be supporting one another instead of pointing fingers and feeling superior, like you have a superiority complex. Well, I quit my job. We have to understand that the economy today is not what it was in the 1950s or the 70s, 80s, 90s, even 5 to 10 years ago. It's not what it was. You have BlackRock buying up all of these houses, driving up housing costs. Groceries are insane. Inflation is probably 8, 9%, maybe even more than that now. It's really hard for a lot of everyday American families. There aren't jobs available anymore. The pandemic really, really messed up a lot of things professionally for people and financially. So yes, obviously the ideal is having moms put their priority and their focus into their kids and their family. But unfortunately, in this trash economy, we have trashed our economy to the point where it's just not possible for a lot of people. And so instead of pointing fingers and judging moms, I think that we should ask, how can we help them? If you know a mom who is struggling to juggle work and her kids because she has to work because they can't live on one income, ask how you can help. Ask how you can help. Can you bring meals? Can you help them with maybe some housework so that they can spend some time with their kids when they're not working? These little things make a really big difference. Okay, before we go on to the next section, how would you like to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks? I'm opening up spots for my 10-week coaching program. This is a very hands-on program where you work with me. I give you macro guidance. We do coaching calls every week. I tell you what to eat. I give you workouts. I give you a recipe book. And there's a lot of moms in my group who really want to shed that excess body fat, whether you're postpartum or you're just at the point where you're a bit fed up about how your clothes are fitting and you just don't feel like yourself. We're in spring now, so moving into summer, it's a really good time to start a fitness and nutrition regimen to get you to the goal that you want to be at. So if you are interested, we are opening spots for our Fit and Lean program. It's 10 weeks long. It's for women only. Sorry, guys. And it's a small group, so I'm only accepting a few more spots. So if you're interested, click the link in my description in the show notes, and you can always reach out if you have questions, but we've had some really, really good success stories. We say you're going to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks, but I've had a lot of women who lose much more than that. I just have a woman, she got done with her 7th week in the program, so she's not even done yet, but she's already lost 13 pounds and she's getting ready for her wedding, and her before and after pictures look amazing. So if you want to join us, a link in the description, and we can't wait to see you there. Okay, although we're trying to, we're talking about having mothers put their kids and their family as a priority first. I want you to understand that you don't necessarily have to give up 100% of your professional interests and even your goals as soon as you become a mom. If you want to give it all up, there's nothing wrong with that. But I actually saw a poll the other day. I'll see if I can find it and put it up on the screen. But it's like 40% of moms said that they would prefer to be working part-time instead of not working at all, like if they had a choice. And then, the percentages after that were lower. So like most of the moms who did this poll said that if they had a choice, if money wasn't an issue, they would still like to work part-time just to have something for themselves. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I know this is like against the whole current tradwife trend. They're like, oh, you should just drop everything you have and totally forget about everything in your career. If you are able to do a little bit of work from home and able to maintain some professional interests, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's not immoral to have a little side gig as a mom. There's nothing wrong with it if you don't want that too. And if you don't need to bring in any side income, that's fine too. But keep in mind that our ancestors spent many hours working on things in the home and on their land. They're totally automated today. We have a dishwasher, a washer machine, we have electricity, we have running water. We can buy our clothes from the store rather than sewing the clothes ourselves. We have climate controlled homes, grocery stores. That frees up many, many hours a day that our ancestors used to spend working on the home. So this is what I mean. Like the women, they used to work in the home. So it wasn't really all about just raising kids and taking care of the family. Like they worked a lot. They had to work the land. They had to get up and work the fields and the crops. They had to make goods to sell. But all of that time is now free because of the modern luxuries of today. So let me be the person to tell you that if you want to use the extra hours that you have to bring in a side income and to maintain some professional interests, it's okay. You can do that. There is a way to do that while still putting your kids as the first priority. For example, I probably work like 10 to 12 hours a week. Like if sometimes I'll work 15 if I want to. And the vast majority of that time is when my daughter's sleeping. My daughter sleeps like 13 or 14 hours a day. That leaves a lot of extra time. I get up in the morning, I work before she wakes up, I work when she naps, I work after she goes to bed. And then sometimes those hours are when she's at grandma's house enjoying time with family. Or, oh my gosh, the tradwives are going to come after me. Sometimes I have a babysitter that comes. Oh no. That's like public enemy number one. This is why I can't stand the tradwife stuff. A lot of the judgment comes from these influencer stay-at-home moms who like, you have a job, you're an influencer. Trust me, I know being an influencer and a content creator takes time. Like, it's okay to do that, but don't put on this like fake hat. Like all you do is stay at home and take care of the kids when you're posting like 10 pieces of content a day and you have like 500,000 followers and you've got like ebooks to sell and you got a website and stuff and like you do coaching. Like, it's okay. You have a side gig, you have a side business. That's okay. Admit it. And it's okay if a couple hours a week you want to have a babysitter come. Like yesterday afternoon, there was a girl from church. She's, young, 17 years old, and she's really active with the kids. She came over in the afternoon yesterday for 2.5 hours. And I cooked and I got a little bit of work done. I wrote the script for today's podcast. It is possible. But the thing is, like, I am still the one who feeds my daughter every meal. I get her out of the crib every morning. I put her down for every nap. I wake her up. I put her down for every bedtime unless my husband is home and wants to do bedtime. I've been there for every milestone, every new word, every development, every illness, every church service. I've been there for everything. And I'm still able to have a little side business and maintain a little bit of professional ambition. Again, for the fourth time, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. But I know that there are a lot of moms out there. They liked what they did. Like, I like what I do. I like coaching fitness and weight loss and nutrition. I really enjoy helping women heal their hormones so that they can better show up for their families and have better health for themselves and their kids. I like that. I think it's a really great thing to do as a side business. And I feel really blessed that I can do it at home 10 hours a week and still be there for my daughter and soon both of my kids. And it's great that it's flexible hours. I'm just saying that you don't necessarily have to give up every single professional ambition when you become a mom. And I think that this is actually a message that's lacking to a lot of young moms. They think that they have to give up everything forever. It's just that you have to realize that you have to put things kind of on hold until your kids reach a certain age. And until then, you can like maintain your interests and maybe grow them very gradually. But you have to realize that these young ages, like the young months, they only last temporarily. Like, I wasn't really able to do this when my daughter was a newborn. But after you get things more automated in your life and you become used to being a mom and there's a little bit more of a sleep schedule, you can make time to continue having these professional ambitions if you want on the side. And then when your kids get older, like school age, if you choose to send your kids to school or whatever it is, even if you homeschool, that takes up so little time, you can use even more of that time to pour into your professional ambitions. And that's okay. You can still put your kids first. And that's the great thing about this modern age, is that you can do a lot of things from home. And I think that moms, we should take advantage of that if we really want that. And always coming back to the question, not should moms be working after marriage? The question is, how can we be the best moms to our kids? How can we be the best stewards of our children's heart, soul, spirit? Because that's really our most important job. And you can do that while still maintaining some of your own personal interests. It's possible. Moms are not like singular beings. Like, we are multifaceted beings. And sometimes it can be difficult to juggle everything, but you can do it if you want to. So now let's get to our 4 tips for better time management. This will be especially helpful for moms out there who are still working, even if it's just a little bit on the side, to raise your children. Okay, so these 4 things here, and this works even for moms who aren't working, right? So if you have a lot of things to manage at home, maybe you have like multiple, like 6 kids and you're trying to manage it all, these 4 tips will be good for you. Number 1, build your high trust village of family and friends. Okay, this is really, really important here because our ancestors had help from each other. They had assistance from their family, from their friends, from the community. They were never meant to do motherhood alone. And I think this is one of the reasons that so many women in Western American culture actually struggle with motherhood. And this is not talked about enough on the right. And this is why sometimes the whole tradwife trend annoys me, because they're not talking about why so many moms are struggling with motherhood. They're just like, oh, you're just all so selfish and lazy. No, I don't think so. I hear from a lot of moms that are really lonely and they're really isolated and they're struggling because they don't have any help. And we were never meant to do motherhood alone. So find your high trust village. If you have family nearby, ask for help. If you have friends that you're close with, and if you need a little bit of assistance, ask for help. Even if you need someone to just take your kids for an hour so you can maybe finish up some cleaning or take a bath or just get your head screwed on straight, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. I would strongly encourage you all also to go find a local church community, find an Orthodox parish. That's something that I've said many times on my show, because a lot of these, not necessarily all, but a lot of these Christian communities have a built-in support system. And there's a lot of young moms there that you can connect with, and you can do some play dates or some shared childcare, whatever. You can send your kids over there if you trust them, whatever the case may be. But it's really important to have this support from family and friends. And if you are young and if you are just getting married or you're just setting up your life, if possible, live near family. If it's not possible, then it's not. But if it is in any way possible to live near family, do it. Because I said this in a previous episode. Living near family is the ultimate life hack. It's the ultimate motherhood hack. It really is. Because your family recharges you. If you have a good relationship with your family, of course. I'm not talking about like giving time to an abusive family member, but you get what I'm saying. Your family recharges you. Like my mom makes me, I don't know, I can't explain it. My mom being there for me and helping me with the little things, like over the weekend, she just cooked on Sunday afternoon, and after church, I went over there and I could put my feet up because my belly's so big now, my back's starting to hurt, my hips starting to hurt. I put my feet up, and my daughter was just hanging out with grandma for about an hour or two, and I ate some home-cooked food that she gave me. That heals the soul for young moms who are sleep-deprived and trying to juggle it all. Your family can help with your healing and your recovery. And that's so important. So make the time to build that high trust village of family and friends. You are not supposed to do motherhood alone. Number 2, quiet down more often. And I know that sounds weird, but the busier you are, the more resilient your mind has to be. So you have to actually make time to relax your nervous system, to find some peace and quiet. And this applies, like I said, to moms who don't work and just have multiple kids. You got a lot going on at home. Or if you're juggling a little bit of a side work, side business, and you've got kids running around too, you have to find ways to quiet down your nervous system, because stress is the biggest killer of everything, especially your hormones. Biggest killer of your metabolism, hormones, mental health, happiness. You have to find ways to really slow down. For me, that just means waking up about 5 to 10 minutes earlier in the morning when the house is still quiet. My husband's already gone for work. The house is quiet. And I just sit and I pray and meditate for about 5 to 10 minutes. Another thing that I do is 3 nights a week, I take an Epsom salt bath with essential oils for 20 minutes. And I try not to turn on an iPad or look at my phone while I'm in there. I just relax. Another really good thing is breath work, doing some breathing exercises for 5 minutes before you go to bed. Whatever you can do to lower stress and lower the anxiety, because you are not going to be able to do it all if you're constantly go all the time. And you have to replenish yourself. You know, I'm not a big fan of the whole obsession with self-care and self-love, but if you want to be selfless and if you want to give to your family and your kids, you have to come from a place where your cup is full. And in order to do that, you have to find time to quiet down. So pick some daily practices that you know will help you lower your stress and anxiety. Number 3, eat 3 square meals a day to balance your blood sugar. You're like, what? What do you mean? Moms are so bad at eating on a regular schedule. I've noticed that. I noticed that from working with a lot of moms who come in to heal their hormones or lose weight, whatever the case may be. They're really bad at eating regularly because the mornings are really busy. You're trying to get the kids out the door, trying to get the kids all fed, trying to get the kids dressed, just slamming coffee back. And the next thing you know, it's like 10:30 or 11 and you haven't eaten breakfast yet. So you just eat the first thing that's there. That's the easiest way to wreck your hormones. You know why? Because it imbalances your blood sugar. You can't have healthy hormones unless your blood sugar is balanced. So this is very important for you to eat a high protein breakfast within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. I know a lot of moms like to just go without breakfast because they think they're going to eat fewer calories throughout the day. and it's better for them. No, eat a high protein breakfast within an hour of waking up, and then eat 3 square meals throughout the day. And if you need one small snack, usually between lunch and dinner is the best time to have a snack, because that's when your blood sugar drops and you just like crave something a little bit. And every meal should be very high protein. You have to prioritize healthy eating in order to fill your cup, in order to do it all. Everything on your to-do list, you can't do it all unless you are eating well. So stop skipping meals, stop starving yourself for 18 to 20 hours a day because you think it's going to help you lose weight and have more energy. Women's bodies function differently than men's do. And I'll tell you this, most of the studies on intermittent fasting, they're performed on men. Most of them are. Women respond a little bit differently. There are different parts of your cycle where fasting is better for you, parts of your cycle where it's not. I have just found through coaching hundreds and hundreds of women, and through my own personal experience too, that when you have a high stress life or a high stress environment, eating the 3 square meals a day is going to help you balance your blood sugar, balance your hormones, and lose weight if you need to, and just lower a lot of the stress and anxiety in your life. Number 4, stop comparing yourself to others. Get off social media if you have to. It's toxic to constantly be scrolling through, or not even on social media, to look at your friends' lives and to think, oh, that mom has it so good. They're rich. She doesn't have to work. They have everything that they need. They've got multiple cars and their kids are so well behaved. And what do they have that I don't have? It's toxic. Stop comparing yourself to people. Don't compare yourself to the stay-at-home mom influencers you see on social media, because remember, pretty much all of them have help at home, because it's a job to have that much of an online brand. It's a job to be a huge influencer and a stay-at-home mom online business. Like it's a job. So don't feel discouraged when you see someone like Ballerina Farm. Ballerina Farm is amazing. And I wouldn't say Ballerina Farm does not by any means claim to be trad. I actually appreciate, she's pretty honest about her life. Like she runs a business, raises kids, and does beauty pageants. She like works the land and her farm. Like she's not pretending to be some kind of stay-at-home mom that doesn't do anything but raise her kids. But I think a lot of women look at her and they're like, how does she do it all? Well, you know, they're also worth like $500 million, and she has a staff at home to help her with things. And that's okay. So don't compare yourself to other moms, because every mom has a different setup at home, has a different environment. So there are probably a lot of moms out there that you kind of envy. Well, they have a lot of help at home that you probably don't have, and that's okay. The moment you stop comparing yourself to others is the moment where you can finally find some peace and contentment in your own life. You have to focus on what's in front of you. Focus on what you can do. Focus on your own children, how you can pour into your children and your family. And if you need to limit social media time, just do it. Or if you need to delete the app. I know some women who, especially like during periods like Lent or the Christmas season, they just delete the app because it helps them be more present with their family and stop comparing themselves to others, because it's just such a toxic thing to do. So those are the 4 tips. I hope these are helpful to you. If you are a mom listening and you juggle a lot of different things in life while still being a mom, what are some tips that have helped you? Please tell us in the comments below, because there are always moms who are watching this channel, and we can really learn. We can learn from each other, and we can help each other. Like I said, I don't think motherhood is ever meant to do alone. We're never meant to do this journey and this very difficult endeavor alone. Motherhood is central to life. It is the most important thing that drives society forward. It really is the backbone of family and of our culture. So take it seriously. That doesn't mean you have to give up everything else forever, but it should be our biggest priority. So that's all we got for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Like this video, share it if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel and turn your post notifications on so you know next time we post a video. And if there's any topic in particular you want me to cover, please leave it in the comment section, and maybe we'll discuss it next time. Okay, bye guys.